I kept entering the contest to try to make a speech better. And then I just kept losing until I didn't.
You are now tuning in to the Going North podcast with your host, best-selling author, professional speaker, and member of the John Maxwell team, Dominic Dom Brightman. And every Monday and Thursday, we're going to hear the voice of a different author sharing their gifts, stories, and expertise to help you charge forward in life. Now let's get on with the show. And today on the Going North podcast, we're bringing some legendary humans from across the globe who pen to paper and to take action in life to really put themselves out there and create some tangible success. Today is no different. Today is different, folks. It's a great occasion, folks, because thanks to a past guest, the wonderful and lovely, phenomenal Maura Neville Thomas, she connected me with this awesome human today. My goodness. The first ever on this podcast, we have one of the world champions of public speaking, folks. And guess what year it is? This one, 2020. The world champion of public speaking, Mr. MC himself, who knows how to rock all the mics, Mike Carr. We have him today. How you feeling?
Oh, good, Dom. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast. Yeah, I was really excited, especially after talking to Maura. So thank you so much.
Yeah, that's right. There's a reason why M&Ms are still popular after all these years.
Yep. I agree.
Yes, indeed. Well, besides my magical corn cobs that appear in conversation, I'm pretty sure there are things I've missed since I kept it extra short, since your bio's probably 10 dragon scrolls long. Mine filling in any cavities about the mighty Mike that folks haven't known about yet.
Oh, goodness. Have 8 kids. That I guess people know about that. Love soccer. I worked in politics for almost 10 years. I haven't talked a lot about that. I worked for both a Republican and a Democrat. And so people think I'm either balanced or I'm a traitor, depending on who I talk with. It used to be they said, oh, you're balanced. Now these days, most people go, oh, you're a traitor. But yes, spent some time working in the U.S. Senate and saw the behind the scenes a little bit, and hope we get back to the day whenever people can disagree amicably, fiercely and vehemently, but amicably nonetheless.
Oh yeah, you could say that again. So what drew you to politics, man?
You know, I really, it sounds so cliche, but I really wanted to change the world. It was what I thought. I went to a Christian college, grew up in a Church of Christ denomination. Not a whole lot of Church of Christ folks around. It's not a real big denomination, but went to a little Church of Christ school out in West Texas in college. And I've always kind of seen the free market as a great equalizer, as a way an efficient way to provide equality. And I really still do, if it's done right. I've become a little more cynical. I'm probably the most cynical optimist you'll ever meet because I really just know it's going to work out all right. But short term, I kind of go, oh, it could be kind of tough in the meantime. But wanted to go into politics. I saw politics as a means to, I love to communicate verbally. I've always loved to communicate to groups and large groups, and saw politics as a way to build equality, from all kinds of equality. Mainly it was economic equality, but gender and racial, and just trying to work at it every way we could, that the free market and encouraging the free market and level playing fields. I thought politics was a good way to do that. So I got into it, did that for about 10 years, and all the time saw it was those business leaders who were in the communities that really were making the difference with the politicians. So decided to leave the dark side and, and actually go into the free market.
Well, considering the way things are turning out this year, I'm pretty sure you made the right decision with that one.
Well, I appreciate it. It has been, I was gonna say it's been a fun year, but it's been kind of a crazy year, up and down roller coaster. It's been a roller coaster year, I think, for so many people.
Oh yeah, you could say that again. And it's kind of interesting how you had that real goal of actually going into politics to really help your fellow man and make the world a better place, which is truly fabulous and something that I'm sure all of us want to do, whether we believe it or not. And you're actually ended up getting one major step closer to making that a possibility because you hold the keys. You're the world champion this year, man. So,
Uh,
like, how was that journey? Because I looked up a little bit of information about you. And it looks like you've been a Toastmaster for 25 years. So, how many years did it take you to get to the title? Because I'm sure you didn't compete every year.
I didn't. I didn't. A friend of mine, we kind of figured it up and probably entered a contest about 20 times. And some of those contests only went to the district level, meaning they wouldn't go beyond the state. Some of those contests then went to the semifinals a few times. So probably about 20 times. There were some years where we were moving, some years where business got in the way and I couldn't do the contest. But it really was. I had become convinced I never would win it. So it's a real testimony to, there's some people that they grab a goal and they're able to continue toward that goal regardless of the discouragement and the setbacks. In my life, I have seen that those people are maybe few and far between, and they tend to be a certain personality style. I think my story really gives credibility to the idea that people of another personality style, people that question if they really can do this and they don't have extreme confidence that they can do it, just by moving forward little by little in the direction of something that seems fun, can ultimately yield the same results as those who had that goal from the very beginning. So I kept entering the contest to try to make a speech better. And then I just kept losing until I didn't.
Oh man. And that's really interesting too when it kind of speaks to the philosophy of sometimes not being attached to really just the end result of something that you're really chasing for because like it's interesting. It's like you won the championship the year you weren't really expecting to really win the title. So did you
Right.
ever hire a coach at all in the process?
I did. I did. There's a great coach, a guy who's won this in the past. A guy named Mark Brown, lives in Atlanta. A
Ah,
wonderful human. And I would encourage anybody who wants to seek, communication coaching, speech coaching. Mark is a really good coach, and I'll tell you a couple of reasons what makes him really good is he started out the very beginning. He said, Mike, and he's from Jamaica originally, so he has this wonderful, rich Jamaican accent. So I'm not going to try to do the accent because I would do it a disservice. But he just has this deep, rich, wonderful voice. You just have to imagine that. And he said, Mike, you are the CEO of your speech. I'm going to offer you suggestions and feedback, but you have to give a speech that feels right to you. And I think that is really, really good. I've been coached before by individuals that say, this is what you need to do, and this is what you need to do. And that didn't work as well as somebody saying, ultimately, you're the one who's going to know what's right for you. So that was great in the coaching side. And he has a real international perspective. As you go on in Toastmasters, first you're speaking to a group that's in your area, a few cities around you, and then it becomes the state, and then it's several states. Then you're speaking to an audience that is made up of people from 146 countries. And so Mark was really good on giving perspective saying, well, really great example. There's this one part in my speech where I was telling about a story. I was laughing with a friend of mine in high school, and I said, in the real story, I was drinking a Coca-Cola, and she said something really funny, and I blew Coke out my nose. And he said, Mike, people across the world aren't going to understand that's Coca-Cola. Some of them are going to think, oh, well, is he snorting cocaine? Is that Coke? So, and I hadn't even thought about that. So it was an easy fix, but it was so important because that could be really distracting to an international audience. And so I changed it from Coke to milk and just eliminated a potential problem. So he coached me not just for the contest, but also just for good speech coaching. And I'll continue to work with him. He was really, really good on keynotes going forward.
Oh wow, beautiful, man. And funny enough, the lovely Denise Ball, I had to thank her for that question and a couple of the questions related to the championship because she's also a fan of Mark Brown too. She actually went to him for some coaching a bit when she was thinking about competing. So it's really interesting, and it's really just a testament to really just how a lot of top performers always have coaches. Like the greatest coaches have coaches. Those who are top performers have really those that are coaching them and helping them make just those literal pivots and adjustments to really make that switch that you need. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, and that's not just in speech making. Over my life, I try a whole lot of stuff. A lot of it fails, some of it succeeds. That's just life. And I've started businesses, sold some, shut some down, had some other, been in financial services for 27 years and have had some success there, and then managed inside corporations and had varying levels of success or failure there. The times in my life whenever I have seen my growth plateau
Hmm.
have been the times when I have been too busy or, quite honestly, too proud to reach out and seek coaching from somewhere else. And then when I've stepped out and sought that coaching in every area of my life, then I've seen my growth pick back up. And it's kind of like, tennis stars have talked about, I think it was one of the Williams sisters recently, someone was asking her, you're the best tennis player in the world. How do you find a coach who can coach you? Because obviously they're going to be worse than you are. And she said, it's not about being better. It's about watching me and seeing the nuances of my swing, just to have someone that you're partnering with who can watch you and provide accountability. That's the most valuable. That's what keeps us on the growth curve. So I've had to relearn that again, and I could not say enough things to your audience about, oh, just keep getting coaching. It's so important.
Yes, indeed. Definitely important. And it's really great that you brought that up because it really shows that we all need that other set of eyes to really pay attention to what we're doing and just really give us some feedback, some real good feedback. Is that that's what they call the breakfast of champions, like feedback. Gotta have it.
Right. So true. So true. We've got a consultant in our finance business right now who's saying to us every time, he's saying, if you don't have a knot in the pit of your stomach every day, then you're probably not growing. And one of those knots comes along whenever he sees something that I'm doing in the business and he says, that was awful. And it's uncomfortable and I don't like hearing it,
Uh,
because I think, what are you saying? I've been doing this for 27 years. But we're always, I mean, that's where the growth comes. You're so right. The breakfast sometimes we have to really, it's a hard breakfast to swallow, but it's so good for us.
that's right. Makes your veins pop out like you're ready to pump all the iron.
So true. It's true.
But yes, indeed. So speaking of breakfast of champions and always pushing for more, so what's really next for you now that you have the title that you eventually thought you weren't really going to have at one point?
Mm. Well, I do hope I can get through all of my Facebook messages in this century. If there are any people out there who are listening who sent me a Facebook message and have heard crickets so far, as long as I'm living, I'm going to get to it. But I've been snowed under. I do love people, do love other humans, and it's been really cool to start building friends. You know, Toastmasters is all over the world, and I've got new friends in Cameroon and in India, all over India, and in Singapore and in Vietnam, as well as in New York and in Dallas. So, and I'm here in Austin. So, you know, it's just that's continuing to broaden that friend group and really keep it tight. But I'm in a mastermind group, and one of the guys asked me recently, said, what are some things you really love? And gave me some observation back and was saying, you seem to really light up when you're able to help someone else accomplish what they really want to accomplish. And that's really true. My mom bought me Zig Ziglar tapes years ago, and it still rings in my head, you know, that you can get everything in life that you want if you just help enough other people get what they want. And it's so that's I think just to put gas, you know, put fuel on that fire to be able to do that. The and so doing more, I think what that looks like is in our finance business, doing more seminars and more teaching around what are real sound principles, because there's a lot of wrong information out there about personal financial planning and personal investment, and to really give some real truth around that, to talk about, hey, this is what you can do yourself, and this is probably, if you're what you're seeing, if you get some help, and just education, some teaching, and further helping people grow their businesses. I do think the free market is just the great equalizer if it's done right, and helping people grow their businesses, and but especially in that area of teams, you know, their leaders see the world one way. 50% of leaders are D dominant personalities, but D dominant personalities only make up 3% of the population. That means that up to 97% of their team does not view the world the same way they do, or said even better, 97% of their team could view the world very differently than the leader. And so, you know, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about a little bit ago. People have won this contest before who are D dominant personalities, and they said, I'm going to be the world champion of public speaking no matter what. I'll do it till I die. That's not me. But to have credibility, to be able to say to those team members, hey, you don't even have to have confidence that you can climb the high hill. Just keep taking the next step. Focus on what creates excellence in your world. Seek out coaching. Get better daily. You know, and it's a different mindset, but it speaks to those personality styles that are not the D dominant. So building some messaging around that, and I'd say that where all this stands on is just encouraging more humans to listen to other humans. My dad was absolutely the best listener I have ever met, and I did not know what I had as I grew up. But I learned a ton from him. And if we could listen better to each other and really, really hear each other, it would change the world. So that's probably my new mission, is encouraging our fellow humans and training us how to maybe listen to each other again. What I learned from my dad.
Amen to that. Always got to appreciate lessons from a good man known as a father. That's what I'm talking
Mm,
about. It sounds
mm,
like you had a great one. That's amazing.
yep. Pretty
Amazing.
quiet guy, but just kept quietly providing excellence, pushing excellence into the world. And people loved him, mainly because he really, really saw other people.
Hey, and you're definitely right. Like that's really what a lot of people are desiring nowadays. And that even to your point of excellence, one question I did forget to ask you earlier was the fact of when it came to the preparation for the championship, what would you say is probably how much time would you say you dedicated towards the preparation? Was a specific amount of days you dedicated toward it? Like was like an hour a day, an hour every other day, 2 hours a day?
I tend to be more about consistent habits than I am, a certain block of hours. But that answer is different for each of those speeches.
Mm,
In Toastmasters, you give one, there are now 7 levels to reach the finals. For the first 6 levels, you can give the same speech, but then you have to have an entirely different speech in the final. So the speech that I gave from the club all the way 6 levels up to the semifinals, it was a speech that I had written 3 years before, given to the club. And so what I would do is every morning when I got in my car to commute to work, commuting to work, that's an odd concept now, isn't it?
yep.
Someday maybe it'll come back, but I would get in my car to commute to work and I would run. The first thing I would do is run the speech. And then when I get in my car to drive home, the first thing I would do is run the speech. Right before I'd go to bed, run the speech. Get up in the morning, as I'm brushing my teeth, I'd run the speech. So we figured out maybe during the time period, 640 to 650 times of running that speech in distracting environments, just in case
Mm.
distraction happened. I would have it right there. The preparation for the final speech was very different because the speech I had prepared just in case I made it to the final, it was a speech that was built for a big stage and 3,000 people in a ballroom. So I did it here on the little screen that on Zoom, and it looked boring. It was so boring. So 3 weeks before the final, I realized I've got to change speeches. I've got to have a different speech that uses the virtual medium. And like I said, like I told you, I really kind of knew I wasn't going to win, and so I thought, well, I got at least got to be to the final, so I'm going to take a risk and create a piece of art that the judges will probably absolutely hate, but at least it'll be entertaining, and I think it'll give a poignant message, a message I really want to give. And so I just went for it, and the judges did not hate it. So that speech you were talking about time, I wrote that 3 weeks before the final, and so I was constantly practicing it. I was um, I was determined. I've got partners in our financial business, and I was determined to be ethically and morally put in the time to that. But I apologize to my family almost every minute outside of doing what I was supposed to be doing for the finance business. I was rehearsing that speech.
Well, I'm sure both parties are happy now.
I I hope they are. Yeah, I hope they are. They're saying nice things, and I'm trying to make it up to my kids. I try to make them eggs every chance I can.
I'm guessing sunny side up to keep them sunny, or is it scrambled? Or
Depends on the child and the day.
oh wow, that's right. You got 8 of them. So
That's
well,
right. Yeah, only 5 live at home now, but
oh,
8
okay.
total.
So not fully there.
That's right.
It's not as bad as it could be, I guess, for lack of a
That's
better word.
yeah. Right. Right.
But yes, indeed. Well, congrats again to that. And it's really interesting how you had to really call an audible like that because you really came in with this game plan. Because because remember, past champions saying that usually a lot of folks who win the championship, when they get to that last level, they usually give the best speech they have to get to that point. And then when it's like when they get there, it's like, oh, um, well, what now?
Right. Right. Yeah, that was a little bit of my story. as well. I loved the speech that I scrapped, but it would not have worked as well in the virtual environment. So hopefully I'll be able to give that speech on a large stage at some point because it's designed for a large stage.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Hope they might even be in the room to see it, hopefully, because sure folks are itching to definitely see it. It's like you're got this secret technique. It's like it's waiting to be revealed.
That's right. I'll kind of keep it hidden as we go, keep the mystery going. And then it may happen and people kind of go, oh, what? That was kind of anticlimactic, but let's hope not. I'll put enough pressure on myself that, have to deliver. That's right.
Well, hopefully something with a little less pressure. So, is there a question that you wish you'd be asked more often when you're being in interviewee mode, being asked all sorts of magical questions?
Hmm. I would, a lot of times I'm asked, when did I know that that speech would win? Or when did I know? And I really did not. In fact, the morning of the contest was streamed, I woke up just in a panic because I thought, no, I went too far. I think I probably embarrassed myself because we weren't able to record it when we did it. And we actually, the way the contest worked is because they were having, the potential of technology glitches, we did the contest and recorded it all in one sitting about 2 days before the final. And we were not allowed to record ourselves. So I hadn't seen it. I had no idea.
Oh,
And so whenever it came up, the way it worked was they uploaded it and you could fast forward once they loaded it up. And I fast forwarded over and I watched it and thought, okay, it didn't stink at least. I don't know if anybody will like it, but at least it didn't stink. But what question would I like to be asked? I think, oh wow, that's a really great question. I think maybe what's one of the things that is most important in a contest like that or speaking like that doesn't get talked about a lot. And I would say mindset is is something that is vitally important that doesn't get talked about a lot. We talk about technique, we talk about practice, we talk about a lot of the things that we do, but there's something about mindset coming into a speech really with a desire to just help that one person for whom that speech is meant for, recognizing we may never know that person, and also just it's great. Several of an amazing philosopher named Bill Murray, the actor, several of his movies, he says his character will say, "It just doesn't matter," and that is a really good mindset to think about when nerves are flying and people are talking about, oh, do you feel the pressure? Just to realize 1,000 years from now, no one will remember this. 100 years from now, no one will probably recognize that I did this. A year from now, no one will care about me. It just in that way, it just doesn't matter. And so just to ease into that and enjoy the moment and be incredibly present and have fun with it, have fun entertaining the audience, and then reaching out and having faith that the message is going to land for that one person, whoever he or she may be, that message was intended for. Just everything rises, that dissipate, and the nuances that separate first place from second or third or whatever else, because anybody on that final stage could have won. They were all great speakers. Um, that's that mindset piece is incredibly important.
Ah, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You're definitely right about that. And not only the fact that mindset's always important, like your mindset in particular is very interesting, the powerful one, because it seems like it was a mindset of really non-attachment. Like it's like faith and inspiration and meaning was really what you're all about. And I'm assuming, I guess your faith really fuels that mindset, if I'm thinking correctly here.
Yeah, yeah, and before almost every speech, I will just thank the Creator for that one person who is listening, who needs that message, and I will just ask that I be given the grace to be able to deliver this message in the way that that person needs, and then I tend not to care about what the result is. I tend not to care about if I get a trophy or not. So, and the odd thing is that it's in those times that I have been the most peaceful that I've carried away more trophies. It's there's this great concept in golf that if you want to hit the ball really, really far, the thing that the only way to hit the ball really, really far is to not want to hit the ball really, really far. I learned this going out with a friend, and I was just swinging really hard and swinging, and I'd miss the ball and top the ball, and the ball go off, you go maybe 2 feet or go off in the woods. And he shared with me this concept. And so, when you really start then working on just perfecting what he said was, you perfect the perfect swing, and the ball just happens to get in the way. And it's really, really true. And there are certain things in life that fall in that category. And I believe this is one of them, is that the best results come from ignoring the results, not trying to grab after the best results.
Yes, indeed. Well said. Well said right there. And it's really just a beautiful thing. And I just love that. And I feel like folks should really try to get more to that state of mind and trying to really get to that point, because emotions are tend to be running really high at the moment with the things that are happening, and really be able to have that peace that surpasses all understanding, to be able to get more out of life through, I guess, in a way, being like water, kind of like you are right now, and just
Mm.
really taking life as it comes your way and still moving forward with intention. So I got to commend you for that, Mike.
Well, thank you. I do try to work on that every day, and I am most days not successful, not perfectly successful, but hopefully I'm getting better at it. And there are a lot of great examples. Being tranquil, being peaceful does not mean not achieving. There are a lot of great examples in history of super high achievers. Marcus Aurelius was the emperor of Rome and wrote in his diary, became the book Meditations, and he talks about being like peaceful soul, and tranquility was the highest good. He was the most powerful person in the world. Seneca was another, was the Warren Buffett of the Roman Empire, and is considered one of the top philosophers talking about living a tranquil, peaceful life, but obviously was incredibly successful. Warren Buffett himself echoes a lot of those same thoughts. It's just that I think a lot of us are chasing the wrong thing. We think we're chasing the right thing, but we're chasing something that may get us a level of success, but we come to the end of it, we're just not going to be happy with that. And there is an alternative. You just kind of described it. I like the way you said that, being like water.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You can say that again. You can say that again, indeed. Well, coming down to the magical question, just want to be respectful of your time. And that is, the magical question is, what advice would you give to your 25-year-old self if he was in 2020 with all of your amassed knowledge, experience, and all of the smooth jazz?
Mm, my 25-year-old self, I would say, look at where the intersection is between what you love, what you can make economically viable, and what you're good at. There are a few things in the intersection of those three circles, and then just start moving in that direction, starting with, a few activities that take you in that direction, Mike. I'm talking to my 25-year-old self. And then just improve on those activities 0.1% every day. And make sure those activities are controllable activities that, we worry. I knew my 25-year-old self. I was worried about so many things I could not control. I have to let those go. I have to accept what's going to happen. Those things I cannot control. But the few things I could control in the direction of the intersection of those three circles, just keep going and don't worry about it, Mike. It's going to work out. Just keep doing your daily practice, keep marching in that direction. Good times will come, bad times will come, but it'll if you keep moving and keep improving even just a little bit daily, then you will be shocked by the results that will happen, and you'll live pretty peacefully, pretty tranquilly.
There we go. I think I came up with the title for this episode, Tranquil Triumphs.
Ooh, I like that. Thank you. I like that. If I use that, I will subtitle you. I will footnote you. That's what I was trying to think. Yeah.
Hey, I'll take both. It's all good.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like saying good morning when it's like 10 p.m. at night. It's like it's morning somewhere.
That's right. It's so true. It's so true.
My goodness, tranquil triumphs. All right, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. Oh man, I've enjoyed this. This is great.
Oh, thank you. Do you mind if I just let you know I'm increasingly writing about this, and anybody who wants to get more of that or YouTube channel, MikeCarrOfficial.com. So you can just put in an email address there, and we're beginning to send out newsletters and videos, and it's all in that mission of hoping all of us to do a lot of the things we've been talking about here today. So I appreciate it.
Woohoo! Well, sweet. So you already knew what I was going to ask, is where folks can find you. Mike Carr
Oh,
Official.
okay. I
So
jumped the gun. I'm so sorry.
It's all
I
good,
raced
man.
ahead.
Hey, it's all good, man, because folks need to go over to that wonderful website and head over to his YouTube channel, catch all of his wonderful goodies, because it sounds like my man is skilled in disc assessments, if I'm not mistaken, from the whole D personality statistic you dropped earlier.
Oh, well, I'm part D, part I, so I get the tug of both of them, but different methodologies work in different seasons, and try to explore some of that. And I do drip a little bit of that on all the social channels each day, and hopefully we can all just kind of work together and grow together over time, and tighten up this global family and realize that we are all the same, all the same.
There you go. We can be a giant force together. That's right.
Yep. Yep.
That's right. That's right. We're all trees with awesome roots.
I love that analogy. Oh, that's cool.
That's right. Cooler than 5 cucumbers, maybe.
Yep. That's a cool multiplier.
Yes. All right. That joke has just gotten some extra steam. All right. Good. Yep. Folks can hate my corniness even more now. This is great. I love it.
Woo! Woo!
Well, before my corniness meter goes up any higher, any parting words before I stop hitting the record button?
Oh goodness, no, I would just say I pray blessings from the Creator on all of you listening, favor on everything you touch. Don't care what your faith is or what your belief is. We are, just feel that you're good humans, and I hope we run into each other one of these days and I get to hear your stories.
How's it going, my friend? I'm glad you made it to the end. That shows that you really enjoyed what you heard and you are an uncommon finisher. Thanks for giving this show a listen. If you really want to help out the show, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this with someone that you care about or someone that needs to hear this message because we want to spread this podcast around like butter on bread if that's your type of thing. And if it's not your type of thing, still spread it around anyway because good stuff needs to be shared with good people like yourself.